England and compare
that is a monarchy.
Born by the taxpayers.
Compare that.
Born by the taxpayers.
That's a monarchy system. And in a monarchy system, you know, a lot of celebration. There's more celebration in a monarchy system.
It's part of their government.
He's a head
when you are
state.
turbaning a chief, you know the activities that
It's not just
the coronation is part.
He's the head of state.
Public function.
He's a public function. He's the head of state.
So you should be expected to spend more on
so
that.
it was also elaborate.
I mean, we
should save cost.
Yes, saving costs. I think
because there were protests. That's the beauty of democracy. While the coronation was going on, there were protests.
Not our king.
We
not
don't
our
need
king.
For them, it's mere waste of time and wastage. So the majority will have their way, the minority will have their say. I want to add to this.
Go ahead.
Now let's quickly take you to the Presidential Election Petition Court. We can tell you that Lamidi Apapa came so early today. Of course, the Labour Party APC case is up now. It should be up and running. Lamidi Apapa came so early and made straight to the seat. He tried to dislodge the other Labour Party officials. So he's sitting there comfortably.
That is after a world press briefing by Abure yesterday. That he assuming office as chairman of the party. He said he has filed an application, an appeal.
Notice of
appeal for stay of execution. But that is a notice. That's an application. Some people will ask, like our friend Deja Dienju went on his page to be saying that why is Peter Obi supporting an illegality? It is left for the judges and the court to determine what is an illegality or not. He said he has filed an appeal for stay of execution. That's what gives him the what do you call it now? The leeway,
the authority,
yes, to address the World Press Conference as chairman of the party. And in that statement, he mentioned that suspended Apapa. Don't forget, the Abure group suspended Apapa just after Apapa assumed office as head of Labour Party there. So there's a suspension hanging on the neck of Apapa, according to Abure. And Apapa is holding on to court that has restrained Abure as chairman.
At what point was he suspended? The court suspended Abure, and then the Abure group came under to suspend after he was suspended.
Court restrained Abure. Abure's group now suspended.
Abure was at that meeting now. He was at that meeting. We saw him after the meeting how he stood with Peter Obi to address the press. Even though they didn't allow him to talk, but he was there. Who chaired the meeting? Those are the issues. Was it right that somebody the court has said? Look, some of us have said this from day one until the parties learn to obey court orders, and they will struggle with this for a very long time, because I want to see that, I want to believe that whoever loses grounds at the FCT High Court will go to Court of Appeal the same way,
Supreme Court,
or even up to Supreme Court, just like that of APGA. It will drag for a very long time, and whether that will not take away energy from the party is left to be seen. But the right thing needs to be done.
The High Court suspended Abure, restrained him from parading himself as chairman. Apapa came up and assumed the position of interim chairman, or is he acting chairman? Abure went back to the court to ask for a stay. I think he was unsuccessful. Then he moved over to the appeal court and submitted the notice of appeal and application for stay of execution. There has been a controversy among lawyers in the legal world, as it were, over whether a stay of prosecution application, whether it automatically grants stay. Some persons have said it does. Some others have said no, it doesn't. You need the court to expressly grant that mere filing should not. In other clients, they say it works here, it doesn't work there, so it remains a big problem. Like Teve said, this may actually get to the Supreme Court, and we urge every other party to indeed remain focused and abide by the laws, because it is our position on this program that no matter how bad a judicial pronouncement, whether it's a motion, whether it's a ruling or judgment, it must be obeyed till indeed every other thing is vacated. And issue of live telecast of the proceedings of the Presidential Election Petition Court will be determined on Monday. The PDP APC case came up yesterday. Arguments were flying from various sides as to whether it's proper or improper, the propriety or otherwise. So the court has heard them. That of Peter Obi and Tinubu, that's Labour Party and APC, will also come up on the same motion, and we suspect the court will also adjourn till Monday, May 22, for ruling on that all-important motion.
Amaechi, briefly before we leave, the aviation minister has called himself 100%, even with a failed national carrier that didn't happen, with a failed aviation university that didn't start up, with a failed...
No, I think the aviation university is still...
No, he was given license, but they didn't, with the failed airport cities that didn't start up, and the concessioning processes.
What about the beautiful work he has done, the runways he has constructed?
Is it
the new airports?
Is it him that constructed it?
Remodeling.
You already remodeled it.
Remodeling. I know the Enugu runway airport, the second Abuja airport.
So ministers,
the ILS, the equipment that are being
ministers
installed.
are scoring themselves 100%. Amaechi, they are not leaving you and I to see what they have done to score them.
But we also know he spent.
And we also heard that
10 fire trucks.
We also heard that 18 out of these ministers scoring themselves are lobbying to come back into Tinubu's camp.
They have a right to. It's not tenure. That's why
I think Nigerians should begin to score them.
Asking the EFCC to look into the activities of these, not just the ministers or the presidential aide, but the EFCC told him, we have you under our radar.
Have fallen into deep soup.
We are suspecting
Hot
that
soup.
you have misappropriated 70 billion and all that. But Matawala is also listening, giving it out to the EFCC, saying, you guys, we need to also look at what you're doing. Your hands are not clean. So who watches over the EFCC? That's what he's asking. Take the one for the road.
Yeah, it's just what the listeners should expect from the Presidential Election Petitions Court in the Labour Party.